What is data journalism? Second part. A data journalism investigation may focus on large public investments, large projects that are often started in our cities, but also in small towns, and that involve infrastructure designed and financed by one or more institutions. As such, they have long construction schedules and a complex and detailed development process, from planning to execution. Essentially, it is what you are doing with the At School on Open Cohesion project, analysing the data and monitoring the project you chose to create a story about. In this case, the journalist contemplates why these projects were funded. What were the motivations higher up? What are the indicators that led to the start of the projects? How many funds were allocated? Who allocated them? How they are used compared to estimated schedule? Whether there are any issues or problems? And what is the impact on the geographical area? These are all questions that must be asked in a data journalism investigation. Let us now review some points that may be useful in carrying out good investigative journalism and understanding what to do step by step when you want to create a product in data journalism. First of all, you obviously hunt for data, just like you're doing now. You have to ask yourself what data is the most useful. If there are public bodies that make them openly available online, open data. If there are official electronic archives, other types of sources, and so on. Once the data is collected, we need to see how it is structured. Can they be read with a spreadsheet? Are they already structured in a table? Must it be built because maybe the data is in a different format, for example in text, PDF, or HTML? We then move on to cleaning and refining the data, because the data we find is very often not well formatted, and you have to check a lot of things. For example, the uniformity of the dates. That is, whether they are written only in numeric or alphanumeric format, or if the data is organized properly into the columns, or if it is disorganized. And in this case, we must be very careful, because they may be empty cells, for example, and we need to understand if they relate to missing information or they are simply errors from data transposition. We must then naturally proceed to analysing the data, classifying from the largest to the smallest, or vice versa, for example, filtering them to maybe focus only on the data of interest, grouping them with a pivot table so we are able to measure them quickly in terms of quantity. And then the data must be enhanced. We must never stop at what we have obtained, perhaps from just one source, since other pieces of information can come from other sources or even from the same source but with different data sets. As we have seen before, one of the most important things when creating a data journalism product is the ability to visualize our data in the most effective and attractive way possible. Because our story must be told through visualization, which can be an interactive graph or an infographic, along with a journalistic text that explores the infographic and explains how the data was collected, the issues presented, etc., providing further details. Furthermore, we have to dig deeper into the data and ask ourselves, what is the context in which it is collected? If there is other data or other information that can be found to improve our research, if there is a correlation between different data. Never stop. Try and try again. Always go ahead, because when interesting information is found that catches the eye, the journalist, who has a tendency to be curious, just like you must be curious when you conduct your research, tries to investigate deeper, tries to understand better if there is other information that is useful to the story being told. At the end of the investigation, it is important to build, through storytelling devices, the most effective narrative possible. Knowing how to tell the story well through data, citing the sources, and illustrating the method used for collecting and analysing data, and maybe adding a little creativity to our narrative to make it more appealing. And then, of course, we need to write, knowing who we are writing to, who our readers are, our target audience, and therefore using appropriate language. Here is a brief guide on the steps necessary to develop a data journalism project. Step 1. What is the phenomenon to be analysed? What is the project? Step 2. Collect data. Which ones can be useful, where we can find them. Step 3. Is the data collected structured? Must it be cleaned? What does it tell us? Step 4. We need to visualise the data to make better sense of it. It may also be used in the analysis stage. Step 5. We check the data and information again, if we need to aggregate it with other data. Step 6. What is the result of the data? What does it give us in relation to the underlying story?